Hello guys, Cristiano here. I am a C programmer, learning all those things that I can. Hit the subscribe button, let a comment, that'll help so much the channel. All my videos, you'll be in a fast mode with explanation. I'll reduce the time to be more precise. And we will face a lot of mistakes and debugs. Everything's calculated, or not. So don't be afraid. The link for all the source codes will be in the description. If you wanna follow, just get your copy. Adding support for SQLite involves a slight variation compared to MySQL and PostgreSQL. Unlike those two, SQL requires handling the query results within the same statement execution. MySQL and Postgre, on the other hand, store the results in an internal context for later retrieval. This distinction is primary difference in the implementation process. We will start by creating necessary folders and rules for managing SQLite integration. An option will be introduced to enable SQLite functionality in the main configuration. This option will likely be disabled by default. We'll now create the SQL.h header file. Due to SQL's lack of a dedicated connection object, the parameters it requires will be minimal. We then define its context and arguments, which in this case consists solely of the database name. Additionally, we create a callback function that will handle the records. SQLite only requires 4 functions, since it does not have a separate result set. This simplifies the implementation, but deviates from the standard we have followed so far. For the basic setup, we use MySQL init as a reference once again. Lastly, we make some adjustments to the error messages. We corrected the function name to execute and made additional adjustments to the text. We compile the argument and connection verification functions from MySQL, leverage as much existing code as possible to avoid unnecessary writing. Next, we rename the types to SQLite. In the open function, we implemented logic to check the arguments and assign the database name to the context. Then, attempt to connect. In the execute function, we implemented the call to SQLite exec. The close function now closes the connection properly. We refactored the argument verification function to test the database name. In the connection function, we performed the SQLite open operation to use the database. Moving on to tests, in this case we don't need a database container, which simplifies things, but the rule remains in the code. You create the script for building the test, using the Postgre test as a base, we made a small adjustment to the callback, additionally, we ensure that a table is created if it doesn't exist. As soon as connection is made, we execute the query to create the table if the file does not exist. In the execute function, it is necessary to pass null if a parameter is not going to be used. For select statements, we pass the callback along with the object to be populated. Other than these changes, everything else remains the same. We add the test to the main text script, we clean the build, and enable the SAT SQLite. Next, we perform the build. Some errors occur due to the missing semicolons. We also need to change return type to the callback. I adjusted the prototype, but initially forgot to update the function itself. Now everything's set. Testing is complete and everything is working fine. This concludes the implementation. Now we have support to 3 types of database. We can now create a kind of a layer to create a factor to instantiate the desired database using string or enum, which can be expanded to a configuration file. That's all for now. I appreciate it if you get here. Don't you forget to hit the subscribe button, leave a comment and share. Knowledge is not enough. Waiting for more. Bye. See you soon.